Hi, Frankie V here from Same Day Restoration. Today's guest is David Melzer, public adjuster, and he's going to walk us through the ins and outs of his industry. All right, welcome back. Today we're here with David Melzer from Property Claims Consultant. David is a public adjuster, and he's going to walk us through some of the ins and outs of the industry. So first of all, David, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. That's good to have you out. So what would you say the reason why or how you got involved with insurance?
So I kind of fell into the industry years back, about 10 years ago, got out of college and kind of fell into the industry. Like I said, I was looking for a job when I was 21, 22, got into working for an insurance carrier, and was there for about 10 years. And most recently I spent a pretty long stretch at another insurance carrier here locally handling commercial and residential property claims. So I've been in that industry for a little while, and then kind of most recently, especially with the way the industry kind of changed with COVID over the last year, I took a step back and wasn't necessarily agreeing the way that claims were handled. We went through a lot of like virtual type claim handling, which caused a lot of frustration. And so that's where I decided to really kind of take a step back and consider maybe going and taking a position or doing a job where I'm fighting for the insured, the consumer, the homeowner, rather than working for the insurance company themselves. So that's how I kind of found out where I'm at now. And most people really don't know what my role is as a public adjuster. You know, I don't work for the insurance company. I work for you, the homeowner or the business owner themselves.
Right. All right, great. I think that's a great explanation. Yes, certainly there's been a lot of unknowns around that word, the term public adjuster. So thanks for explaining that. So why would you say somebody would need to hire a public adjuster if they had a claim in their house, things are going smoothly, things maybe aren't going smoothly? What would be the reason why somebody would hire someone like yourself?
So there's kind of a few big major answers to that. I guess the one answer would be during larger claims. When you've got, for instance here, well, since we're got here, why not use it?
Torched.
Torched. So for instance, like fires or big floods, when you've got bigger claims, whether it's a fire or a flood, there's so many pieces always moving. For instance, let's go to the home here. This one's a little bit easier. So you got a home. Now they can't be in their home. So you've got additional living expenses. They need to be at a temporary house, an Airbnb or something like that. Now look, they've got personal property that's damaged. They've got to pack out the house. So there's a lot of moving parts there. And that's not even getting into the repairs themselves. So public adjusters are always going to be really beneficial because they help manage all those moving components and making sure that the homeowner really gets that full value of the insurance policy.
Got it. So what would you say, how would a public adjuster get paid, or how do they get paid?
So we get paid, in the state of California, we are kind of bound and determined to strict guidelines by the Department of Insurance. We are licensed and bonded through the Department of Insurance. So we have very strict guidelines of how we get paid. So in an instance of going back to the flood or the fire, we would sign on and have an agreed percentage. So let's say, for instance, we have agreed percentage of 5%. So whatever on top of that insurance claim that we get for you, the homeowner, we would get 5% of that claim itself. And some people get a little standoffish, as you kind of did when I said that. And so, people are saying, oh, wait, now, I'm getting 5% less. How am I supposed to remodel my kitchen or my house? And where I like to really drive into that is that, well, the insurance company isn't always going to be the best at showing you every single nuance of the policy and providing the full benefits. So there might be, again, as we're going to use this as a reference, all these items in the house need to be packed out of the home. That is something that maybe the insurance company may not tell you about. That could be another $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 that a public adjuster could have found you in that claim. The other instance would be the personal property items. These are your items that were damaged by the water. We would go through with a fine-tooth comb, find every single damaged item in the home and present that to the insurance company. That could be something that they would have originally missed. So it's like we try to double, triple, quadruple that, maybe that $5,000 fee or whatever our fee is, our percentage fee, in other found funds for the insured.
So basically, it's also looking out to find, like you said, these hidden areas there. A homeowner may be out inconvenienced and/or out of personal belongings that would have normally just been overlooked. So I guess basically he's just going to have your back in a claim where these items could certainly affect how your family lives. And also, what about living? You talked about that also. So if somebody needs to move out of their living situation, is this something that you all also facilitate in?
Absolutely. So like going back to these examples, when you've got a home that's completely inundated with either a fire or flood, now they can't be in the home during the water mitigation or the remediation portion of the claim, and then as well as the repairs. They might be without a kitchen or a bathroom. So now there's a lot of companies out there that help facilitate and find rental properties. That isn't our company, but we do is we help fight for them to get them a similar house. If they've got a coastal house in La Jolla, they shouldn't be forced to be 30 miles inland because that's the cheapest house that they can find, you know?
Right.
So we also fight, you know, the homeowner or the business owners is owed to be in a similar living condition that they were prior to the loss itself. So if they were in a 5,000 square foot home, they should be owed a 5,000 square foot home to be in during the repairs. So, and sometimes the insurance company wants to find that cheap house, you know, that whatever's cheapest and save them a buck.
Right, and they're probably expecting the people that are in that situation just to acquiesce and be like, fine, we'll just take it because they're in a situation where they just want to get back to normal. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's great to know. That's a really good info. So what would you say, why would a restoration contractor like ourselves be interested in hiring someone like you to perform your services?
So it's a great question, because I do have a lot of restoration contractors and partners that come to me daily with questions. You know, they'll run questions by me and say, hey, just recently had this instance where a contractor called me and said, you know, a customer called us, there was a skunk that sprayed inside their house. Is there coverage? It's weird things, you know, they don't really know. Nobody really knows if there's coverage or not. So I'm a great wealth of information when it comes to that insurance policy itself. And so I'm able to answer those questions. Or maybe they come to me and say, hey, you know, we've got X, Y, and Z issue with the building, you know, we need to remove the tile. How would you document it to make sure that it gets approved at the insurance company? And so these are just phone calls that I help. I give out free advice all day long and enjoy building those partnerships and relationships with the vendors out there. And I offer that advice. And so it's great to always have me there. The other, you know, that would just be kind of that quick phone call relationship. But then the other avenue would be, you know, you guys are busy and you guys shouldn't be spending the time fighting with the insurance company for hours on end for something that I can step in and do for you. So I can alleviate that stress, you know, when if you've got your estimate at X amount of dollars, but the insurance company only wants to pay 1/2 of that, I can step in and help fight for you guys.
Yeah, certainly, we'll take that. I mean, as using you in that capacity, I could see, you know, as a trusted advisor, you know, to kind of help us guide us and navigate through this area, would certainly be something that we would consider, continue to use, obviously. If you could say, I guess I don't like to use the word trick, but what types of wording, or I guess tricks, if you will, we could use, you know, in a claim, what kind of advice would you offer as far as what we're going to do for our claims?
So I see a lot of instances where people file claims and they use words that are very vague. And so this is something that I always try and preach out there, is that when you're filing a claim, a lot of the stuff we see out here are water damage claims. 90% of the stuff we see are water damage claims. And there's a big issue that we run into where, and you guys have probably seen it, where it's a long-term leak exclusion language. So the insurance policies have exclusionary language that states that if a leak is ongoing for more than 2 weeks, they don't cover it. And so where I kind of take a step back and says, well, who determines this 2-week period? You know, how do you determine that a leak's been going for 2 weeks or not? You know, is it rotted out? Is there just some mold there? You know, you don't really know. So the tricks that I tell people is that make sure when you're answering the questions with the insurance company or filing that claim, you use direct language. You don't need to elaborate. Don't say, oh, well, it's been ongoing. You know, my son noticed it 2 weeks ago and now we see it here. It's like, no, there was a leak in the shower. That is it. The leak in the shower, damage to the floor, you know, straight to the point. Or maybe they call you and say, well, please tell me about the damages. And you say, oh, well, you know, going back to the example, my son saw it and it was leaking 2 weeks ago. No. There's a leak in the shower and there's damage to the floor. So it's kind of just little things like that can avoid you getting backed into a corner and hopefully avoid potentially a denied claim.
So a lot of it is in the language, I would say, based on what you're telling me now. Just want to be as definitive as you can and just get right to the point and not get off in the weeds, if you will. So something that comes up also, a lot of people ask me, you know, Frank, if I have a claim, I can choose whoever I want as my vendors in my house and my claim. Is there truth to that?
There is, absolutely. And so the Department of Insurance, which kind of regulates a lot of the insurance side of things as well as myself, there's very strict and defined language that says you have the right to choose whoever you want. And so the only way the insurance company can actually provide them with a company is if they specifically request. So if I call in and say, you know, 1-800 insurance company, I have a leak in my bathroom, I don't have a contractor, can you send me some recommendations? Or is there anyone you recommend? And at that point, they do have the right to send over, you know, X, Y, and Z restoration, ABC contracting company. You know, they can do that. But it's where they cross the line is where maybe the insured, the consumer who had the leak found that company on Yelp or something like that. And they say, oh, we're blown away. They have great 5-star reviews. We're happy. Everybody's happy with their service. And I want to pick that company. And the insurance company says, oh, no, they might be a little too expensive. The insurance company can't say that, and you really have the right to choose whoever you want.
Great. Well, that's great feedback for our viewers out there, because I do hear a lot of that coming back to me sometimes, that I can't choose who I want, or I can't choose who I want. So that's great feedback, and thank you for that, David. I think that wraps up all the questions that we have. There was also one thing else. Well, so what benefit would there be to adding your services to a claim? I mean,
so a lot of benefits, really. It just kind of depends on the claimant specifically. So typically, every claim that I get involved in, I can guarantee that I'm going to be getting a higher payout by the insurance company. So even if they hire me on months later, I'm going to try and find areas that they might have missed. Maybe they missed the baseboard in this room. Maybe they missed that. So now, when you hire a public adjuster, you've got someone who really has the answers to the questions. You know, they're coming in, the answers to the test questions, put it that way. So they're coming in and they're someone that's knowledgeable, if not more knowledgeable than your adjuster from your insurance company, and they're on your side. So they're gonna know all the intricacies of the policy, any additional coverages that might there, like I said, like getting you in a rental home, you know, other small things, maybe getting your electricity reimbursed when all the equipment was running during the water mitigation, you know, little things like that, that could be, maybe it's $500 here, $500 here, $1,000 here, $2,000 here, like it adds up very quickly. So that's the benefit there is it's where we're gonna really make sure that we can maximize that benefit. If you're gonna have that insurance claim, we wanna maximize that benefit for you.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I think David hit the nail on the head here for us today. I just want to say thank you, David, for coming in today. You brought a wealth of information, tons of knowledge out there. We are so grateful that you came in today and you're willing to share with our audience. So we'd love to have you back for another segment. What do you think? Come back again?
Thank you for having me.
Okay, yeah, wonderful. We'd love to have you back. All right.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Contractors Corner with David Melzer, President of Property Claims Consulting. You got his business information here. Make sure you keep him in mind if you're going through any type of home damage type of insurance claim and have any extra questions or may need some extra representation. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.